Hi everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Real About Real Estate and today's podcast, where I just really want to dig in for a minute about an incredible window of opportunity that I feel like a lot of people are truly missing out on because of a myth and a misconception. So I just want to bust the myth right now that waiting for interest rates to drop before purchasing a home is going to save you a ton of money. So I'm going to tell you that that myth is false, very much so. And you're probably thinking, that doesn't make sense. I've always been told that lower interest rates mean less money out of my pocket, and I'm going to show you exactly why that's not true. So here's what I need you to think about. And I have some slides. I'm going to try to fit them in here maybe, but this is what I really need you to focus on for a second. So I know that you also know that whenever interest rates get lower, housing prices get higher. This is a fact. It's a historic pattern, and it makes sense because people will pay more for a home if they can get a low fixed interest rate, because what they're thinking in their mind is, well, I can afford more house now. So let's take you back a couple years ago after COVID was over, 2021, when interest rates went berserko and you could purchase a home with a 3% or maybe even a 2.5% fixed interest rate. What happened to housing prices in your market? They exploded, right? So as a realtor, I could list a property and within 12 hours, I would have 12 offers in my inbox from agents representing buyers who wanted the property. And guess what? They were not just full price offers. These offers had escalatory clauses. They had all kinds of crazy stuff. So basically meaning if the home appraised for market price, they were willing to pay an extra $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 on top of the appraised value to get that house at that interest rate. Why? Well, because they knew that that was the only way they were ever going to be able to afford a home at that price point. But here's what they didn't think about. Number one, they didn't buy any equity. Number two, they're kind of stuck in that house now because it's definitely worth less than they paid for it just 4 years ago, which is not a good position to be in. And they're never going to match that interest rate on another purchase. So hold that thought. So now let's fast forward to what's happened during 2024 and then into 2025. So if you go back to December of 2024, interest rates December and January were the highest they've been in a very long time. We hit 7%, 7.5%. Last fall, we were even at 8%. Like, it was crazy. So when the rates were climbing like that, the listing agents and sellers at first, they continued to list the properties at the market value that they had before the rates went up. And what happened was they sat on the market. They weren't selling because people weren't willing to pay the extra amount for these homes at the higher interest rate. So what had to happen is sellers had to start dropping their prices. And as the rates climbed, the prices went down. Rates climb, prices go down, and like that. So when you look at the data, very few properties were selling at market value. Instead, sellers were having to accept less than market value. So what has happened now is within the last month, rates have gone to the lowest they've been since 2021. We are now at a 6.3% on a 30-year fixed mortgage, which is great. And as you probably know, refinance rates are always at least a half a point, if not a full point, lower than the rate for a purchase. Remember that, because that's going to be super important to you in a couple minutes. So what does that mean as far as me telling you why you shouldn't wait for the rates to drop to get the best price? Come on, Bernadette. You just said that people were paying more because their payments were more affordable with the low rate. However, here's the facts, okay? We're never going to see your 2 or 3% purchase price rate again. Our national treasury is not going to be able to support that. So what we are going to see is over the course of the next 6 to 12 months, rates are going to drop 2 more times. So you're going to see probably a 5 to 5.5% rate on a purchase and a 4 to 4.5% rate on a refinance. Right now, everything has met together. So right now, your home prices are still down and your interest rate is also down. This is not going to last, folks. This isn't going to last more than 30, 40 days, because now that we know that they're not going to climb back up, they're going to stay like this and go down and go down. Immediately what's going to happen is prices are going back up. So if you purchase now, you can purchase the home you want at the lower price while prices are still dropped and at the low 6.3% interest rate. So basically, you could purchase a $300,000 home on an FHA mortgage with 3.5% down, and with your tax and insurance included, your payment would be around $2,100 a month. Now, if you can sustain that payment just for 6 to 12 months while you wait for the rates to go down even further, then you get to grab that refinance rate of 4 to 4.5% and drop that payment down below $1,600 a month. That's how you do it, folks. That's how you get the best deal at the best price, because guess what? That same house in 6 to 12 months, when the regular rates are 5 to 5.5, that same house is going to be $325,000 to $340,000, because the housing price will go back up because the rates go down, and the market knows people will pay more if they can get a lower rate. But you're really not doing it the smart way, because you're not saving anything doing it that way. Your payments are still going to be higher. It's craziness, and you're going to pay more for the property. So let's get real about real estate. Let's get real about getting you pre-approved, getting you in that home before the end of 2025. And then in 2026, we'll get you refinanced and drop you down to the most attractive rate, and you will have paid the most attractive price. And guess what? In 2026, when all your friends are going out to purchase their homes and they're paying the $330,000 and $340,000, and you only owe $285,000 or $290,000 because you purchased now and refinanced in 2026, you've got $30,000 of equity. They have zero. Call me or text me. I am at 904-704-5815. Bernadette Harris, Florida Homes, Realty, and Mortgage. You know this. We've talked about this. Tune in to the next episode where we're going to get even more real about real estate.